The wind howls across the desolate peaks of Wallachia, carrying the screech of 1,000 bats. Most would run from the imposing mechanical silhouette of this castle, but one woman stands firm. Her name is Lisa, and she hasn't come to beg or steal. She knocks on the heavy iron doors not out of fear, but out of determination. She is a woman of science in a world blinded by superstitions, and she knows that the man who lives here holds the knowledge she needs to save lives. The doors groan open, revealing a fortress of grinding gears and surging energy. From the shadows steps the lord of the castle, Vlad Dracula Tepes. He looms over her, ancient and dangerous, asking what a mortal could possibly trade for his secrets. But Lisa doesn't flinch. When he threatens her, she scolds him for his lack of manners. When he questions her motives, she tells him she wants to heal the sick, not trick them with fake magic. For the first time in centuries, the vampire is disarmed. He is fascinated by her fire, her logic, and her bravery. Lisa makes him an offer that will change the fate of the world. If he gives her the knowledge of the immortals to help humanity, she will teach him how to be human again. She urges him to travel, to see the world not as a conqueror, but as a traveler. Dracula agrees. He leaves his home to walk among men, opening his heart to the one woman who treated him like a person. But the world of men is cruel. While Dracula travels, a shadow falls over the village of Lupu. The church, led by a fanatical bishop, raids Lisa's home. They look upon her laboratory, her test tubes, her medicine, her electrical devices, and they do not see science, they see witchcraft. The scene shifts to a horrific spectacle in the town square. Lisa is dragged to a pyre, surrounded by a jeering mob. The bishop stands tall, condemning her life's work as the tools of Satan. As the flames begin to lick at her feet, Lisa doesn't curse them. She doesn't scream for vengeance. In her final, agonizing moments, she looks to the sky, knowing her husband possesses the power to destroy them all. With her last breath, she begs him for mercy, not for herself, but for her killers. "Be better than them," she cries out through the smoke. "They don't know what they are doing." Her screams are swallowed by the fire, leaving only silence and ash. Some time later, Dracula returns. He expects a warm embrace, but he finds his castle cold and empty. The air is still, the silence is deafening. Outside, amidst the charred remains of a tragedy, an old woman delivers the devastating news. The bishop has taken his wife. In that moment, the man Lisa tried to save dies with her, and in his place, a monster begins to awaken.
The silence following the old woman's words is heavier than any scream. Lisa is gone, burned at the stake. Dracula stands frozen, the grief tearing through his immortality like a physical blade. He asks where she is, hoping against hope, but the answer breaks him. She's dead. The old woman cowering before him expects to be torn apart, but Dracula holds back his hand. He remembers Lisa's kindness. He remembers that she loved humanity, even when they didn't deserve it. In a voice trembling with suppressed rage, he gives the old woman a single, terrifying command. "Pack your things and leave Wallachia tonight. Do not look back." Because the man who traveled the world is gone. The monster has returned. Meanwhile, in the town square, the ashes are still warm. The mayor and the bishop sit casually, nursing drinks, congratulating themselves on a job well done. The bishop yawns, bored by the murder he just orchestrated. He speaks of purifying the land, of making Wallachia God's own country. Boom! The tavern shakes, the sky rips open. Above the city, a face made of hellfire and shadow manifests, looking down like an angry god. It is Dracula. He demands to know why they killed his wife. Panic erupts in the streets, but the bishop, drunk on his own arrogance, stands his ground. He looks up at the towering face of the vampire lord and sneers. "She was a witch, and you are a fiction." It is the final insult. They murdered the only person who made humanity worth saving, and now they deny her husband even exists. Dracula's voice thunders across the land, shaking the very stones of the cathedral. He does not attack, not yet. He delivers a sentence. "I give you 1 year." He warns them to make peace with their God. 1 year to run, 1 year to regret, and when that year ends, he promises to wipe every single human being in Wallachia from the face of the earth. He vanishes, leaving the town drowning in terror and the sound of shattering glass. Back in the depths of his castle, Dracula begins his work. He prepares to drag an army from the guts of hell itself. But he is not alone. From the shadows steps a young man with golden hair and a heavy heart, Alucard, his son. Alucard begs his father to stop. He pleads for the innocent people who had nothing to do with Lisa's death. "You cannot undo this," Alucard warns. "Mom loved them." But Dracula's heart has turned to stone. "There are no innocents," he roars. Reason has failed. Grief has won. Father and son, the two most powerful beings on earth, collide in a blur of violence. 1 year passes. In the city of Targoviste, the sun shines brightly. The cathedral bells ring out, not in fear, but in triumph. Inside, the archbishop stands before a packed congregation, basking in his own glory. He preaches that the year has passed without incident. He mocks Dracula's warning, calling the vampire a liar and a trickster. The people cheer, convinced that their piety had protected them from the devil. They are arrogant, they are proud, and they are completely wrong. In the middle of the archbishop's boast, a single drop of liquid falls from the high ceiling. Splat. Then another. Splat. The cheering stops. The congregation looks up in horror as the holy rain turns into a downpour of blood. The stained glass windows shatter inward, the sky turns black, and then he returns. Dracula's voice booms through the cathedral, terrifying and absolute. "I gave you 1 year, he thunders. 1 year to make peace with your God. And what do? You celebrate the day you killed my wife? The time for mercy is over. With a deafening explosion, the night creatures flood the church. These are not mindless beasts. They are an army of nightmares. They tear through the pews, ripping the congregation apart. The archbishop looks on in paralyzed terror as his flock is butchered. Dracula gives the order that will drown the world in darkness. Kill everything you see. Kill them all. He commands his generals to march on every major city in Wallachia: Arges, Severin, Gressit. The massacre at the cathedral is just the beginning. Miles away, the world is unaware that the end has begun. The scene shifts to a grimy, dimly lit tavern in the countryside. The mood is crude and rowdy. Two peasants, Boscha and Kobe, are arguing over a ridiculous story involving a goat, completely ignorant of the slaughter happening in the capital. But the reality of the world crashes in when a breathless messenger bursts through the door. "The horde has been seen! It's sweeping west!" Fear ripples through the room. They talk of the encroaching darkness, blaming the great houses for bringing this doom upon them. Boscia spits on the floor, cursing the nobles who play with the lives of the poor. He saves his deepest venom for one family in particular, the Belmonts. "We should have killed all the Belmonts," he growls. At a dark corner table, a lone man flinches. He's covered in a heavy cloak, nursing a drink, trying to disappear into the shadows. He hears the hatred in the room. He knows the name they curse is his own. The world is ending, demons are marching, and the only man who might be able to stop them is sitting in a bar, drunk, and despised by the very people he was born to protect. Trevor Belmont is here.